Watcher, welcome to the Away Day Experience Show. I never say watcher. Why not? New things here on Back of the Net. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
How are you, Thomas? You alright?
Yeah, good, mate.
It was a good Away Day show yesterday. Really enjoyed it, mate. But Brighton fans were not happy.
Didn't do well, did they? Didn't do well.
Hopefully, Wolves fans will feel happier after seeing their team today because, sorry to spoil it, that is the team that's being done. Wolverhampton Wanderers. And look, you know the format, but in brief, what we do is we talk about a number of points that don't involve the football, Tom.
Yeah, it's all everything away from the actual game itself, which will please Wolves fans because rarely we got to win. So yeah, we'll talk about everything in terms of an away day that's not to do with the football. We go through pre-match experience, what goes on before the game, pubs, getting there, concourse and refreshments inside the stadium. Then we go into the stadium and view itself. The atmosphere inside there from the home fans, and then the people as well that we spoke to, the Wolves fans. We speak to a lot of fans on the blogs and stuff. So yeah, nice. So if you're Wolves, don't go anywhere. Yeah. I know you lost, but we're not going to mention it again. I promise, we did win. I'm not going to mention it again. But yeah, it's just all about the away day itself, mate, away from the football.
And it all helps to build a tier list, which we can see on the screen now. And yesterday, as you can see, West Ham, they gained some partners by the way of Brighton and Hove Albion. But where will Wolves go? It goes from banging visit to what a waste of petrol. That is self-explanatory. And you know what? I'm really interested to see where this will go. Now, look, there are a few factors that we can't help. Kick-off times, time of day, all that kind of stuff. But one thing we don't talk about is the football. Now, this one, we won. So you'd think, you know what, banging visit. But it's nothing about that whatsoever. We got a draw in Newcastle. That went into banging visit. But then we also got beat 9-0 at Liverpool and put that in decent days. So that just explains and demonstrates that the football's got nothing to do with it. To be fair, the actual match itself wasn't that great.
No, it wasn't, to be fair, but we were happy with it because of the result. But yeah, the game itself wasn't a thriller, was it, mate?
No, pre-match experience then. You know what? A drive to Wolverhampton, not too bad. About 3.5 hours, pretty good. We had a brief stop at Warwick.
We did, of course.
We stopped. We didn't have a food stop because what we did do is go to about one of the only dedicated away day pubs. I think quite often they say that's the pub. It's the Blue Brick, which is a table pub. Or you can go into Birmingham, get the train in. But given the fact that there could be train strikes at any given point in time, we decided, look, if the RMT called a strike, we don't want to be risking being left up a dark alley in Birmingham when we need to get to Wolverhampton. So yeah, table pub, it was all right.
Yeah, I'm kind of
I'd say it was all right.
Yeah, I'm mixed on this pre-match experience. So as you said, actually getting there was fine. And actually, we parked there.
Right outside.
Right outside, so you parked exactly where you're going. Perfect, can't get any better.
It depends what you want from a pub, really.
Of course. And
some people will really like this pub.
Yeah, for sure. The walk, I was going to say the walk to the ground is really easy as well, isn't it? So that side of things, I was well happy. The actual pub, restaurant, whatever you want to call it, I personally hated. For football
fans, for I would say for your average football fan, it's not particularly great.
No.
Because, and I can see why. Look, because Premier Inns are always located and have like arrangements with either like local beef eaters or whatever, or sort of local branded pubs. And obviously this gets a lot of trade from your hotel clientele next door. Yeah. So it has to be kept fairly regimented in there and fairly well organised. And it certainly was. Tom, you had to go in, had to remove items of clothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I had to take me out off, which is fine. Something to do with ID or something, so you can see all that stuff on the cameras. But yeah, I'm not going to say just because like it didn't have TVs or that football feel. We've been to many pubs this season and last season and stuff that just don't have the game on, and that's fine, you know, whatever, for the early kickoff. You take it or leave that, really. It was more the way, they've probably been burnt in the past, we don't know, in terms of football fans. I just felt a little bit like you were treated like scummy football fans before you walked in the door.
Yeah.
So it was obviously, the hat thing's fine. You know, it says like you can't wear the hat at the bar. Right, cool. Went and sat down at the corner, but literally I've put my hat back on because I thought I'm not in the bar area. There's someone there straight away, off. All right, okay. And then even just walking out for a fag, I got hat off.
Yeah, and I also found when I needed to go to the toilet, say the toilet was over there, they would make me walk around this long pillar bit to get there. Like, can't I just go through that door there?
Yeah, and then
because it's there. No, you have to walk around.
We booked a table. Obviously sat at that for a bit. Then I went to the toilet, went to go back. Have you booked? Yeah, I've been sat there. Have you been sat there already? Yes, I've been there. And then we ate our food. And then before the plates were still there, hadn't been collected, and they're going, you need to pay now. Yeah. And I'm guessing they've been hurt in the past. That's all I can assume. But I just didn't like it's not the staff's fault, but I didn't like how it didn't make me feel comfortable, and that accepted in there. It was weird.
Well, you know what I did? I got my own back, so I used a blue light card, 25% off.
Yeah, they didn't like that, did they? But in terms of it is what
fast
it is.
service.
Yeah, service was very fast, and like I say, actually getting there and then getting to the stadium and getting back was really nice.
They did have an outdoor area serving beers as well.
Oh yeah, they did. To be fair, yeah, they did. But yeah, just not for me. Not for me at all. I would definitely look. I know there's not many options.
Stoke vibes.
But if we have to go back to Wolves, I think the key thing is if we both stay up or both go down. But if we go back to Wolves next season, we will not be going there, and that says a lot. And even though there wasn't many options, I will not be going back there.
Yeah.
So it can't score highly, mate. So pre-match, 3.
3 out of 10 for Wolves pre-match. I mean, of course, you can do other things.
Yeah.
We know that, but there's not many other away day pubs, and it's an okay walk, as Tom said, but it's not lots around the stadium really, unless you really know what you're doing. I think a lot of people, like I said, they go to Birmingham and get a train in, but I think that's a fair score. Onto the stadium itself, then, concourse and refreshments. What do you think?
Yeah, the Concourse, we've had a few this season, haven't we? That we even spoke about in our last one, where they could be a bit, you think, God, how's it so tight in it? You're only playing Bournemouth. Imagine when you get big fan bases up there and stuff. But this one was okay, I felt.
But of course, we split into 2 different tiers,
True,
weren't we?
which is helpful.
Yeah, which is helpful. So you got the upper tier and lower tier. I didn't actually know this at the time. And I think this maybe contributed to what was quite a weird away atmosphere, actually. When you got 2 stands.
Yeah.
That feel far apart, but of course we're not rating our atmosphere, we're rating theirs. But I think that helped though in terms of the concourses because there seemed to be some room.
Yeah, and I was happier with it for sure. It was just it was comfy down there. I mean, it wasn't you're not going to get what's going to make a concourse absolutely amazing is difficult to say. But I just remember thinking if you've got no problems with it, it's pretty good. So yeah, I was quite happy with it because I know you've been in there before. I remember sitting at the side at Molineux before. And that was probably a little bit more congested underneath. So yeah, I was quite happy with it, mate. Refreshments wise, didn't actually get any food because we ate before, but got a few. Bottle of Carling for a £5. It's not ideal, is it? It's not ideal. A lot of them are like that, to be fair. And we're probably a little bit fortunate actually that we get a few options at home, don't we? But Carling, bottle, £5, or rank. But
it's standard food fare if you're having something to eat there. I think it's fairly bog standard, isn't it?
It's fairly bog standard. I think because it was a little bit more spacious and I was happy with it, I'll go slightly above average. So we'll go for a 6.
6. Now Molineux, it's a really weird stadium. It's a bit. I mean, I like it. I think. I mean, so it's a 4-sided stadium, but the long sides are kind of curved.
Yeah, weird, isn't it?
It's almost like they were planning for a bowl shape, but they didn't have a bowl shape. But then you've got these stands at the end, like the one opposite. It's weird because to the right there are just these loads of seats uncovered.
Yeah, really
It's
weird.
like, what's that all about? But very tall stands, and it's conducive to having a good atmosphere as well. And I quite like the stadium. I think it's kind of still a little bit quirky.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I literally was thinking the same as you that I weirdly quite like it. And I'm not really sure why, but I do quite like it. It's a quite nice stadium. It's different, but that's not to its detriment.
Yeah.
Like I look at it as you said, mate, a little bit more quirky, a bit more unique, which. Yeah, I don't mind at all. And as for the view, no problems whatsoever. We're quite high up.
Yeah, there were some seats that were above us to the left that had a bit of the roof actually on the pitch, which wasn't great. Because where we were, there was that roof, but at the height that we were, it didn't affect them. But if you're further up, it actually gets in the way of the pitch, which isn't particularly good. So sometimes it's better to go, say, like midway down the higher tier. But in certain spots, it's not particularly great. But, it's on the end. It's on the edge. I quite liked it.
Yeah, don't mind it at all, mate. Again, going to go similar with the one before, where it's slightly above average from me, so I'm going to go for a 6.
6 for stadium and view. Okay, then. The atmosphere. So, I just touched on, we don't rate this, but it was very hard to create our own atmosphere when you're split in a couple of tiers. Sam Booth, who came and stood next to us in the second half, fair play to him, because he really did help to get the crowd going. But perhaps the Wolves fans needed a Sam Booth because really didn't hear much from them. I heard the Hi-Ho Wolverhampton at the start, but other than that, lovely light show, lovely, bit of heat on the face when the pyrotechnics went up.
like
But other than that,
Yeah,
couldn't really hear much of them.
Disappointing. This is probably, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but if there are Wolves fans that haven't watched any of the other shows, we do have to, I always feel like with the atmosphere, you've got to dip into it a little bit, the game, because it's not fair because Wolves fans will go, we were rubbish, we lost 1-0 to Bournemouth, who haven't won for ages. Of course, the atmosphere's not going to be rocking, so I get that.
But they had a lot of the ball, they got into decent positions, they created some chances, they had a fair few shots on goal looking at the stats.
It wasn't rocking. I didn't expect it to be rocking, but I did think, as you said, mate, they had all of it in the first half, and I did think they might get behind them a little bit more. I think it helps them at the start of the game, the hi-ho and all that. And I remember thinking, this might be quite a decent atmosphere, and it didn't quite materialise. Yeah. But I'm sure Wolves fans will let us know if that was more about the game and the opposition rather than what they're normally like. I'm not sure.
A lot of Wolves fans, I was watching a few preview shows, and they almost like when they've got a positive moment, they always anticipate a negative moment coming around the corner, just because they're that kind of club, and because they got a decent result previously, they're kind of like, I expect a draw or a loss from this, if I'm perfectly honest. So it's almost like it was expected. They knew that we needed the win as well, and maybe they were just negative from it. And plus, it was Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think we've said this on previous ones as well. It just surprised me that they helped the team. You know what I'm saying? When we were obviously 1-0 up, and then they need to just put. You feel like they're gonna push them over the line and nick a goal, and it never really felt like that. It didn't. And that made me feel more comfortable about we're gonna get the job done here. So yeah, as I say, it might have just been one of them days for them, because I've been to Molineux before. I've seen different ones, and it can get good in there. But yeah, it was probably. We've had worse this season, but we've certainly had better. So I'm gonna have to go slightly below average. So I'm gonna go for 4.
4 out of 10 for the atmosphere. Okay then, on to the people as well. A few people in the pub. It was a mixed pub, so it's nice to chat to a few Wolves fans in there. I've got mixed feelings. I've got mixed feelings because there were a couple of fans on the way back that were absolutely lovely. There was some guy that said, safe journey back, and he was having a chat with us just as we were going back to our car. And also Luigi came on the fan cams.
Top bloke.
I think he'd had a couple of beers.
No, he was fine.
I think, but he was absolutely sound. He's like, I really hope you guys stay up.
That wasn't bad, that from you.
Yeah, and he was such a sound guy. Luigi, if you're watching, say hi to Mario for me. You knew that was coming. Yeah. But no, he was really nice. And Wolves fans in general, I think a lot of Midlanders, Black Country folk, are very grounded. Yeah. There's a bit of humility there, but then there are some that were arseholes.
Yeah, they were youngsters, obviously.
Youngsters.
Me calling people youngsters, but they were probably 10 years younger than me. But yeah, there was, we try and do the fan cams after, and there were just a few dickheads, weren't there? And shouting some rank
obscenities.
Yeah, rank stuff, and just being a bit, trying to be hard and stuff. Just lost to Bournemouth, don't worry about it, boys. It's a bit weird, so a bit disappointing. But in general, I don't. Yeah, I think in general, Wolves fans I've always thought are decent. But yeah, there were a few that probably ruined it for them. I don't know about, because obviously talk to people, try and get them on the vlog and stuff like that. I felt like before the game, stuff people were okay. I wonder if there was a bit of bitterness because they lost the game.
I think so. And apparently there was a bit of argy-bargy in one particular area as well, where there was a couple of clashes as well. But that, I'm sure our fans were giving it as good as they get as well. So we're not passing the buck there. What does that mean then?
I think it's only fair because we have mixed to go straight down the middle, mate, and go over 5. I think that's only fair. Yeah.
Lovely people though. There you go. 5 out of 10 for that, which leads us to our tier list. And from what I'm hearing, mate, I don't think this is going to be put in banging day or banging visit.
No, I'm pretty set on what I'm going to do here. Right. But you could probably make a case for quite a few in there if I leant towards one or the other. But obviously it's easier, and I'm sure, especially if you watched it before, you'll be aware that at the end of the season we'll have another look at it again, because sometimes it's difficult because you compare. At the start of the season, you've got less to compare to, etc. And I'm just looking at it, I'm looking in the can't complain section in the middle, and I'm going, it wasn't as good as any of them. No. But then I'm looking in Waste to Petrol, West Ham and Brighton, and going, it wasn't that bad. So I'm going to whack it in with Chelsea in Meh, not the best.
Meh, not the best.
A little bit disappointed. I always try and think, what do I think going into it? And I thought, this will probably be middle of the road Wolves actually for an away day. And afterwards I thought, I was disappointed with the away day, so that's why I'm going to go in there. But it was stronger than the bottom 2. But so probably like them this season, they'll just stay up.
Yeah, there you go. That is what we're saying. Wolves fans, do you agree? Do you disagree? Look, there's a little red button on screen. Click it, because at the end of the season, there's a chance that Wolves may go hi-ho, silver line. No, they may go above where it is, because we'll recalibrate the table. So it's not over yet. They could go down, it could go up. But that's going to be the same for all teams, because there are some remaining matches in the Premier League, of course, on the road for AFC Bournemouth. We're going to be going to them all, and we're going to be ranking them. Tom, how are you liking the shape of that tier list so far? Do you think there's some you think, oh, you know what, we probably should move that at the end of the season?
There's maybe, I'm not going to give any teams away, there's maybe a few I think, they can rejig, and probably at the end we'll, obviously at the moment, if you're in the same tier as someone, it's not in any order, we'll probably try and order it a little bit more so we can see 1 to 19. But I'm disappointed at the moment that only one's in Bang and Visit, but there's no way any of the others competed to Newcastle so far. We've got a few, I'm just looking and thinking what ones are missing there. There's a few good ones coming up, I think, a few that will be interesting. So, yeah, and it'll be interesting in terms of Wolves as well, because we've got a few kind of more that area coming up. We've got Villa coming up, haven't we, and even Leicester as well. So we see how they compare. But, yeah, it's a decent shape. It's still slightly more top-heavy, which is good.
It is. Now, coming up on Saturday, of course, Bournemouth are travelling to the Emirates to play Arsenal. So if you're interested in seeing what happens with them, press subscribe, because next week we're going to pop that video out. There's a reason to tune in. Until the next video, thanks for watching. Up the chairs.
Up the chairs. Oh,
Love it.
hi ho.